万事如意，
谢谢谢谢，
身
感
体
谢。
健康，平平安安。
Selamat Tahun Baru Cina. Please come in. Please come in. Betsy, JC, so wonderful to have you here again, especially during this beautiful season of the Chinese New Year. It's always lovely to have you sisters here.
You know, Alvin, every time JC and I come to the Intan, it just feels like a brand new experience, right? Because you just have so much antiques, you know, different collections, you know, and I know that you're continuing to collect. Actually, how old is the Intan?
Well, my collection started more than 30 years ago. When I was a young boy, I didn't have all these things in my home, so I was very curious about my own identity, my own culture, and what I did was I started to collect Peranakan antiques because this was my way of learning about my own culture. It was never meant to be a museum; it was purely my own collection. But it was very curious people like yourselves who kept knocking my door, wanting me to share about Peranakan culture. That one day, the National Heritage Board came knocking at my door. We became a museum in the year 2010. That's one lunar cycle away. And since then, it's been a pleasure, a joy to have friends like you and to introduce Peranakan culture, not just to local Singaporeans, but to many visitors from around the world.
Are there major differences in the way Peranakans celebrate Chinese New Year? Are there Chinese New Year goodies or food that the Peranakans absolutely must have?
So good point. If we look at it from a cultural point of view, there are differences, and the only reason the differences is because many of the Peranakans would have kept a lot of the traditions and customs which the later Chinese may have already dropped.
Right.
So for the Peranakan Chinese, I think many of the traditions that we have kept in the past would have been things that it would have been very much a Chinese culture. Of course, you talk about food, so you have to localize, right? So you can imagine the Chinese New Year's Eve dinner as well as the Chinese New Year Day. You have the whole spread of babi pongteh, the rendang, the itik tim, the bokalwa, and these were all very much traditional Malay dishes, adulterated with the Chinese community.
So that's the difference between the way you celebrate Chinese New Year, your reunion dinner versus ours, right? And growing up, Chuchu reunion dinners are always a seafood steamboat, right? And fish, and fresh seafood is a key feature. Growing up in our family, because our fathers, right, our father, our uncles, aunties, they're very particular about the freshness of the food, right? And so for us, the steamboat is all about the stock, right? So and in Chuchu cuisine, the stock is really made up of a lot of ingredients. When it's finally seen and served on the table, you are actually seeing only the soup and the stock, right? So what we call is 见汤不见肉不见菜. Right, but actually when you're cooking the stock, you've got, of course, meat, you've got different types of vegetables and all that. So it's Chinese New Year, and I think it's a very special visit, to the Intan. So JC and I actually brought you some Teochew Chinese New Year dessert, whether it's on the first day, Chu Yi, Chu Er, Chu San, or Chu Si, throughout the 15 days. If we're expecting guests, that's something that we have to prepare early in the morning. And in fact, that's something that we as a family must eat as our breakfast on the first day of Chinese New Year. Something sweet, something round, 甜甜蜜蜜，圆圆满满. So we brought you some.
Thank you.
And then if we have elderly at home, we serve something that is specially catered for the elderly. It's Teochew longevity noodles. Right, and a lot of people we know, especially living in Southeast Asia, noodles must be spicy. It must have a punch. People think about the Teochew fishball noodles, or the Teochew bak chor mee, right? But then this longevity noodle is different, right? It is sweet.
To the Peranakan Teochews,
To Intan.
To Chao Chen Chen.
Cheers.
Cheers, cheers. The best compliments. Thank you very much.